Hi. Hi, and welcome again to Music is Medicine Monday. My name is Amy Thiessen, and I'm here every week talking about voice, communication, expression, and of course, sharing some music with you. Now, as many of you probably know, I have now launched the Embodied Voice program, which is a really intimate 6-week journey into the body and the soul of our voice. And so today I wanted to take some time to talk about the program. And I want to take some time to talk about the blog, which is kind of like a foundation to the program. And I want to take some time to really sink into a mantra and integrate what I'm talking about into a felt sense. So I hope you will join me through the whole thing. But to start, I actually want to talk about radical permission. And this is the blog I write about this week, and this is really the foundation to the Embodied Voice program. Radical permission. Somewhere along the way, in our conditioning, in our practices, sometimes the idea of permission, it comes almost tied to this idea that we should be able to just let things go. I give myself permission to feel good in this moment, but we feel shitty. Or I want to give myself permission to release that from my system, but we're still in our system hanging on. Or, when I sing, I give myself permission to just let it flow through me when that's not happening. Radical permission is about meeting ourselves really honestly where we are. Really honestly. And it's a very layered thing. It's almost like we're zooming in on an iPhone to that specific place where it begins. That emotion, that sensation, that feeling, and then giving it permission. So to give you an example, and I write about this in the blog, over the last few weeks, I've been putting together marketing materials, and one of the things that comes up for me as I go to, let these out in the world, and I have a great marketing person I'm working with, is that I've actually felt almost like a terror. That's like, oh, I shouldn't put that out there. That's too vulnerable. And when you read it, no one might think it's that vulnerable. But for me, some of the things in there are, 20 years of very personal work packed into a sentence. And so with that has come this fear, this insecurity, this voice that's, like, you shouldn't do that, that's selfish, who are you to do that, why are you doing this? And the impulse, the initial impulse for me is almost go, okay, just, you know what, yes I do, that's fine, push it away and continue, like just get rid of the critical voice. But what I've learned about communication, about expression, really about liking or loving myself in any real way, is that I need to actually honor what's there. And so this piece of me that is scared, that is afraid, I want to give her permission to be scared and to be afraid and to stay with her through that. It's okay if you're scared. It's okay if you're afraid. It's okay if you end up making a really silly mistake. It's okay if you accidentally go too far or if you don't go far enough. And because I know myself, often there's a feeling, right? There's something that's true for us, a very real experience. Maybe my throat gets tight when I go to sing, or maybe I get really shy or embarrassed. And then there's often a layer of judging that experience that it should be different, right? So, oh, you should just be able to speak up for yourself, or why couldn't I say that in the moment, right? There's that. And so when I'm speaking of permission, I am speaking of permission in every single one of those layers. So first, there's, the nervousness or the insecurity, but if I back it up, it's actually this voice in my head being like, no, it's fine, and this critical voice. So first, I give permission to that. I give myself permission to feel a little self-critical and to get curious about that. And as I do that, there's some fear and there's some almost terror. Okay, I know I can hold that in the system. I give myself permission for that part of me to exist. And under these layers, what happens is we actually start to allow our voice, we start to actually feel heard. Now, permission doesn't mean I give myself permission to fly off the handle anytime I want to. I'm talking about presence and permission. I give myself permission to show up and do my best, whatever that looks like. Now, what happens when we start to give ourselves permission is we actually start to hear ourselves and acknowledge and recognize ourselves where we are. So instead of me wanting to be like, I'm really good, let's push, let's go, which exists as well in this big spectrum of myself and who I am, instead of pushing to a certain direction, I capture that part that used to get fragmented and I pull it in and I allow it to be part of my experience. And now, because I have heard that part of me, because I have listened to her, I feel more heard in myself. And consequentially, when I communicate, I am better able to speak to the very reality that's in me. And then other people are more likely to hear what I actually want to share because I'm more in touch with it. And it goes back and forth, right? Somebody else might actually hear things we don't say. And because they can hear it, we know ourselves better. And this can happen on either thread. And so what's really cool in this is the permission I give myself, my voice, my emotion, my pain, my grief, my joy, my numbness, that informs my ability to also meet people and give them permission to be where they are. Okay? And then follow me. I know this is a lot on permission, but if you follow me now, if I hold permission for somebody to be where they are, witnessing what's going on and kind of having the sense of what's underneath and allowing that to be there, that will actually help them see and witness themselves more effectively. So this is why this sense of permission, this radical permission in these layers of who we are, it fosters our ability to not just express our truth more effectively, but to meet others in a way that we can start to resonate, have resonance with that other person's system and experiences and share. So I go into that a little deeper in the blog. You are welcome to check it out, okay? With that, what I would like to do now is actually just play Om Mani Padme Hum, which is a Tibetan mantra, Tibetan Buddhist mantra of compassion. And I'm gonna sing this for a while, and I don't know how it's gonna go. And my intention is to actually let whatever's in me, whatever I'm feeling, both from the internal to be expressed out, but also in the reception of what I'm feeling in my skin, in my heart, in my environment, to also come through. And to just let the voice kind of happen. And when I work with this mantra, one, I would love for you to sing along, for you to sing it in a way that feels good for you even to just breathe and sigh and allow the sound to move through in a way that feels comfortable. But the way I approach this mantra is that it's like we're weaving grace and compassion into every aspect that exists right now in our sensory world, in our experience, in our mind, so that that fragmented thought or that feeling of like constriction or fatigue or numbness or anxiety or joy or gratitude, that all of them get to be wrapped in this music, in the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. And so today is really just a journey of that communion. From my heart and my voice and my soul, I hope, in resonance and in permission of yours. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Mani Padme Hum. Om 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 Mani Padme Hum. 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 Mani Padme Mani Padme Mani Padme Mani Padme Mani Padme And as I sing, though it might be fluid, what I'm doing my best to do is to honor all of it. When my mind fluctuates and judges or questions something I just hit, when a new wave of emotion or voice comes through. And what happens in this journey is that our voice becomes this expression of the things we can't say. A place where we can hear ourselves. We can hear the hum or the sensation or even an image or a meaning or purpose without it needing to be different. Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. And every bit of it gets to be offered and loved. Every aspect of our psyche, our confusion, our fear, our love, our power, our passion, our sacred, gets to be held with love and sound. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Mani Padme Hum. I invite you to just notice that resonance, that space. And even as I speak, there's a subtle tremble behind my fingers and my heart. And even this is allowed. Thank you. I want to share with you a little bit about what Embodied Voice is as a program, who it's for, why I'm so passionate about it, and to be very honest, to tell you that it is an unveiling that I am almost trying to hold as it shows me what it wants to be. I talk to so many people, and women in particular, but this isn't necessarily a gendered thing, that really struggle to connect to the voice for whatever reason. And it can be because we've been conditioned into how we're supposed to sound. It can be because when we hear it, we don't like it so much that we just avoid it. It can be that maybe we can communicate so fluently in one arena of our life, but when it comes to another arena, it is a totally different game. And this was something, and is, still something I'm going to be working through my lifetime, I'm sure. But this is something that is so intimate and so common, that there is this dissonance between our ability to express what we own or what we feel in our inner landscape. And Embodied Voice is for you. You know, it's for the person who maybe feels too shy or too scared to sing. And I'm talking about, I don't even know if I could sing with a group. Great, we're online. Like, it is actually for you. It's not about having a certain skill level in your voice. It is solely for people who want to know their voice better. And that can be a singer, and I've definitely worked with singers, who wants to gather more of the information or nuance in the system to be expressed. And I love that work. But it can also be the person that rarely ever sings, doesn't even know if they really like singing, but wants to explore it. And the idea is that I will give information, I will give guidance, but it's always kind of this dance of, where am I? Where is this permission of where I actually am? And I, as a facilitator, will always do my best to pull back to the space where the edge is safe, right? And of course, I can't guarantee that at all times, because that's what building capacity and voice is dancing and learning that edge. But about creating a container where we get to really explore that and really start to uncover these nuances and these parts in our body and our spirit and our voice that have been compartmentalized, and to just kind of tap them on the shoulder and see if they're ready to come through. And to also give space for the other side when a voice has force and it has power and it has a to it, to also create a space where that is allowed. Because sometimes there's this impulse or this thing inside of us that almost feels too big, and we're afraid that there's nowhere I'm allowed to be like that. There's nowhere that's safe. And I'm hoping to create a container where that bigness, that expanse, it is so allowed. And how do we allow it through without losing ourself, losing our anchor, our steadiness? And when we do lose ourselves, because that happens too, and maybe it's a physiological response, maybe we blank out, whatever, that is also welcome. And so we're really trying to cultivate this space where the body and our soul begin to have voice. And it's not about, going out and talking to a certain person in a certain way. That's not where we're at right now. I mean, you might be, absolutely, but it's not about that, though it will impact that kind of inner root way. Yeah. So in this program, I don't want to spend too much time because I think I've already been on here for a while, but in this program, this is the first kind of round of this. So if you were around over the last few years, I've been doing Rise and Resonance, and what this is like Rise and Resonance 2.0. I realized I needed more time and space to the aspects that were in that program. And so this is really just in the body and soul of voice. And we are going to work, I don't have it with me, so I'm going to do my best. We're going to work into deep listening and full body listening, and using sound and voice as a journey in that. Okay, that's kind of our week 1. Week 2, we focus a little more on the physiology of voice, not just, the actual aspects of voice that we're used to talking about, the diaphragm, the lungs, the larynx, the resonating chambers, but also how the nervous system and the voice are connected. Because singing, and one of the reasons I love it, is it's quite regulating for the nervous system. Right? And a lot of reasons we can't express ourselves is because of the nervous system. We become hyperactivated, or we kind of freeze. All of those things happen. So it's a way of just kind of bringing a little understanding to that relationship. In the 3rd week, we dive into devotion and the psychology of devotion, and devotion as creating a space that our voice is completely allowed in all its weird sounds, convoluted, confused, fragmented, over-connected, attached, in all of those forms. It's allowed completely. Now, we dig into it on week 3, but there's a bit of it in week 1 just to kind of create a space. Devotion being an arrow into the direction of acceptance, love, gratitude, that which fills us. For some, it's a god or a deity. For some, it's nature. It really is about your connection, your devotion to that which feels just wildly, humbly, deeply supportive. Yeah. Then we go into the intelligence of voice, because our voices are so intelligent. And as we tune into that intelligence, we can actually, use our body this beautiful kind of instrument, we can start to tune it so that our ability to communicate actually carries the resonance of what we want to say and understand and communicate. So our pleasure of voice and expression, our boundaries, our intention. In week 5, I'm really excited about this program. I'm just like, I love this. In week 5, we're going to dive into the archetypes of voice. And that will make more sense when we're in it. It's a little different than what you might think of in archetypes, but often we have these archetypes that we follow through, right, that we get very comfortable with. I have a really comfortable archetype in maybe the healer or the teacher. It's a really comfortable space for me to go now. But there's other archetypes in our voice that maybe we shun. Maybe we're told when we're younger, oh, you don't be so dramatic, don't perform, or, don't be so sensitive. And instead of this, I want us to start to understand what the beauty of these archetypes is and how we can utilize them to find fuller expression. And then in the last week, that is like celebration and creativity. Okay, so within this program, the way it works is on Mondays, you get this email with your information and your exercises, and there's audio support, and there's probably gonna be some video support. And you can kind of integrate it as you like. And then on Wednesdays, I have 2 time slots. I have a 9 a.m. MST and a 6 p.m. MST so that I can help people that are in Europe, and I have people all around the world already joined. So that in those sessions, we actually do more interactive work. So we'll look a little bit at the exercises that I've given you, and we're gonna take them a little bit deeper into an expression, yeah? And then around that, we have 2 concerts, which are live streamed, and AHS willing. If you're in Calgary, you can actually come. I want to do them outside so that people can be there as long as all restrictions allow, okay? So that's also there. And then with all of this, we have these really tight-knit communities. So because this is my beta program, I am keeping the groups small, like single-digit small, okay? So the reason is because when we get in groups over 10, 12, often somebody gets kind of missed. There's somebody who's used to talking a lot, somebody who's used to not talking, and it can get harder to really integrate. So the groups are really small so that we can really feel supported and together on this. And then of course, within all of this, there's a Facebook group for us to have like daily inspiration and connect and talk about things, as well as some kind of guest things that'll be happening. I don't want to get into because they're surprises, and I'm excited. So that program begins, the first email will go out on May 31st, and then it goes from 6 weeks from then, okay? If you are interested, please reach out, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. I will run the program again. This isn't like the be-all, end-all. This is the first round of many, I hope. And if you are quite sure that you're like, yeah, I want to do this, I invite you to join earlier than later because I am, about half full in one cohort already. So just to be mindful of that. Okay. That was really lovely. I really enjoyed connecting with you guys today. Always, I am here. If you have questions, DM me, and I will do my best to answer and be there. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you enjoy the sunshine if you're here in Calgary. And I hope to connect with you all very, very soon. Thank you.